Hey guys, it's Heaven.
And Nyja.
And welcome back to InHerself podcast,
where we talk about faith, family, finance, and friendship.
So be sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes. It's the end of 2023, Heaven.
It's the end of 2023. Another year. Another year.
Another day, another dollar.
How was your year?
It was productive.
Yeah.
Yes. I can totally agree with the comment or the statement of how you start is not how you finish. And so we are finishing strong, baby.
Yeah. I do get that because the end of my year leading up to the beginning of the year was a little rocky.
It was rocky.
It was a little shaky.
Yeah.
But as the year progressed, like first year in this apartment, just renewed that lease, that in itself is a blessing. But the past 5 years to me have been not traumatic, but it's been rough.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, 2023, I have no complaints.
Yeah.
None.
Same here. I mean, we definitely have had some ups and downs just with the kids and trying to get our schedule. I started school. Mm-hmm. That's doing well. In ministry is doing well. Businesses are growing and thriving. It's a lot of multitasking going on. This podcast starting back up. Them comments, we see y'all comments in them sections about the friendship.
Yeah, we see them. We're going to address them. We're going to do like a live or something. We have not forgot about y'all. We see them.
Yeah.
But so I guess I have a question. Mm-hmm. How have you been able to, because I feel like my life be all over the place and I don't have a lot going on. But you have the kids, you have a husband, you have businesses, you have school. How do you put those bullet points where they may and just achieve and accomplish every goal?
So you talking about basically prioritizing my life.
Sure.
Basically. I prioritize in the order of how it's supposed to be said. So God is first, my husband is next, the kids are after that, and then everything else follows in the order in which what is needing of my attention at that time. When me starting back school, I'll start there because I want to develop myself and be the best that I can be in whatever capacity that is. I make sure that I have time for that. I have a conversation with my husband and say, hey, so I'm thinking about doing this venture. Where are we? Let's do a relationship check. Mm-hmm. Am I too busy? Am I too occupied? Do you think I need to postpone? Is it a not now or is it go for it? And he's super supportive. He's always like, yeah, let's rock and roll and let's go. And so it's been challenging with the kids because they have a schedule. I try to make sure that we try to have a Sabbath, which is a dedicated day to say no work, no ministry, no nothing, is talking about the kids. And because everything is a stop and a start, example, when the kids are in sports, it's not all year long. So I try not to plan anything that is going to be, buying from my time around those moments. Self-reflecting, making sure that my mornings start early. My mornings start real early. I be up at 4:30, sometimes 3 a.m. or I don't go to bed till late or whatnot. And then just making sure that everything has a stop and a start. That's how I am able to keep up with stuff. It's not all year long. Like if we're preparing, like right now we're getting ready for When Music Speaks.
Do you like live music?
Do you live in the Tampa Bay, Bradenton, or Clearwater area?
If so, we have the perfect event just for you.
On January 6, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Bradenton Performing Arts Center, Heaven and I will be singing at the first annual When Music Speaks concert.
This event is 21 and older, so be sure to dress to impress.
To purchase your tickets, scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.
Can't wait to see you there.
Right. But that ends after the event. And then you have the spring. And then, so keeping the main thing, and then having those conversations. I talk to my kids too. Hey, so how are y'all doing it? Are you needing more of my time, my attention and whatnot? Friendship checks too. Like we haven't went out in a minute. Let's do a monthly girls, day out or whatever. Just making sure that you have a realistic schedule.
Yeah. I think including yourself, and I'm speaking for me, is important because you get so caught up in like making sure that everybody else is good. So the self-reflection of, hey, are you good?
Yeah.
Like, hey, are you spending time with of course, God, but are you spending time with yourself, knowing what you like, what you don't like? I think that has been 2023 and it will definitely drag into 2024. And I would say the end of 2023 for me is like, who is Heaven? Like, what do you like to do? Like, when do you like to do it? Like, being alone is not a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of weaning out the trauma and all of that stuff, like, not that I'm tired of talking about it, but I feel like I'm at a point where it has been released and it's like, all right, go sit down somewhere. Like, we don't have to continue to keep bringing it back up. You released it and you're good. And so I'm just coming into a space of, okay, 2024 is going to be about heaven.
And I can totally sense that and feel that. And I'm super excited because you used to couldn't even talk about that without getting emotional. And I could tell that it's been a releasing for you. I feel like this podcast has definitely brought out a lot of emotion on both of our behalves. I think I have my emotions off camera. So by the time I get on the camera, I'm already done reflected out of it. And so I agree with you. The end of this year has brought out a lot of self-reflection, a lot of making sure that I am taking care of Nyja. Like, I am saying, okay, I'm not good. So how do I get back in a good space? Because when I'm not good, my kids are not good.
You cannot be good for anybody else if you're not good for yourself. You cannot. Like, if you dragging, everybody else is gonna drag. And I say that whether you're a mother, whether you're a friend, like, that's just what it is. If you're not in a good space, you cannot be there for everybody else. It's just not a thing. You will drain yourself out.
And mental health is so important. I am an advocate. You need Jesus and a therapist.
No, for sure.
You need both collectively. Yeah. And the reason why I feel that way is because there's some things, some areas in my life that I could not reach because I didn't know that it even existed. I had triggers that I didn't know. I'm upset. I wake up, I'm good, but I'm mad. Like, what you upset about, or there's a pin in the floor and I'm blowing off a handle because what's the root? Because that's not really what's it. And so me being able to acknowledge that and own it and be okay with it. It's not crazy. You ain't losing it. It's just you need to have a self-reflective moment. So my 2024 is going to look into more and doing more of that. Yeah. Of making sure that I am putting myself as priority so that I can prioritize everything else. Being intentional in my marriage, making sure that we are having consistent date nights and having one-on-one time. Because sometimes you could be in the same house, but you ain't in the same house.
And people, this could just because what I heard, y'all. Okay. People, you think because you live in the house with your spouse that is a level of intimacy or that is a level of, oh, we live together, so I see you all the time. I don't have to. That is not a thing, or it shouldn't be a thing.
It is not a thing.
From the outside looking in.
And that is very much so a thing for people to do. And because life's, again, when you are dating and you don't, before you have kids, that's why I tell you this all the time, you're dating, make sure you have those conversations of, okay, we are going to get married. How soon are we trying to have kids? Get to know your spouse first. Because one thing for certain, when you start having children, they have priority. And it's easy for you to feel or for your husband to feel like, yo, can I get some time? Because it's more than just sex. It's more than just we in the house and we cooking. No, like, actually focus on me. Focus on what's going on. But that's hard because your day you working. You come home, you got to cook. You got to clean. You got to do this. You got homework assignments. You got all this stuff going on. And then by the time you get into bed and it's 10, 11 o'clock, you like, I just want to go to sleep.
Right. And you can't. You can't.
And you hoping that the other person fall asleep before you.
Like, go to sleep.
So you wake up like, nah, you want to sleep for me.
Right. It wasn't me. Right. No, for sure. But I mean, it excites me, and I'm excited for what 2024 is going to look like, because for me personally, it was scary wanting to put myself first because I care so deeply about the people that I love. So it's always, let me make sure they're good. Let me make sure they're good. Let me make sure they're good. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with making sure that I'm good and then making sure that they're good so we can all be good together. And so I don't have like 2024, what's it called? Goals right now. But that's one of my main goals, and I feel like the rest will follow. So yeah.
Yeah, the other term I think you were talking about was New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I don't have any. Do you?
I don't think, I always go into the new year with a word, like a specific word.
Yeah, we do.
And I don't think I've settled on one yet. I know in the past, it used to be, 1 year, it was just consistency. Another year it was discipline. And I would go into the year with a word, and that would be my word to remind me of what my goal was. I do, however, create vision boards. I create them with my kids too. I went back and reflected on, I didn't do one last year, but the ones before that, yes, just about everything on that vision board has come to pass, or it's like literally in the works. And I believe that, write the vision and make it plain. And that's another scripture behind it with Pastor Lee, but right. So I don't necessarily have a New Year's resolution. What I will say is the things that God has allowed me to pursue and the doors that are open, to just make sure that I am watering those things and I'm being intentional about taking them to the next level.
Right.
I do feel some books in my spirit that I want to start working on. Definitely want to finish school, a bachelor's degree. I'm very excited about that. So anybody out there that's trying to think about going back to school, is never too late. So go ahead and do that. Do it and do it well. And I want to be, the best mom I can be, the best wife I can be, the best friend that I can be, the best version, the 2.5 version of Nyja.
Yeah.
Is ultimately my resolution.
You know what I think is important is to, when you do the vision boards, because granted, you may have done it 5 years ago, a year ago, whatever, reflect on it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can get weary and be like, see, I done did this and nothing done came out of it, or I did it 5 years ago and I'm still in the same space. You may not be, because literally I did not know, we talked about this briefly before we started recording. I didn't know that I had put the podcast on.
I remember.
On the vision board, and now look, I had no idea if I wouldn't have went and reflected, I would have said, but nothing on my vision board came.
I remember that Caucasian lady with that microphone.
Yep. I couldn't find nobody else. Yeah. But it was just about, hey, this is what I really desire to do. And then even traveling and doing all that stuff. It's a couple of things on my vision board that have not come to pass, but I'm not worried about that because clearly it's not the season for that to happen. But the things that I did put on there, it's like, okay, so that is going to happen, just not right now.
In the season and the space and the time and the place.
Yeah.
Like, that is ultimately what it is. I just appreciate the growth. Anything stagnant dies. And so the fact that there's movement in the right direction, falling is not failure as long as you're going in the right direction. It's a lesson learned. And so that is the ultimate thing. I want to see my family whole. I want to see them thriving too. I want everyone connected to me to win, literally. If I'm winning, you winning. And knowing the ones who ain't supposed to be connected to be cut.
Just go on and go. And that's okay, because you start getting connected to some things, and then both of y'all become stagnant, because I cannot grow with the type of seed that you have. It just doesn't connect. It doesn't work. And so realizing that and just being okay with it. I know that getting rid of friends and sometimes family can be difficult, but it's a release. It's a relief when you're like, okay, this is not working for me. I'm sad, I'm depressed, or I'm just not in my right mind when I'm around you, and let go and let God.
And genuinely seeking God about people's positions they play in your life. Because sometimes you can have the right people, but they're in the wrong position. That alone, if God has showed me nothing else, which he showed me a lot, that has been the most pivotal gem in my life, is you have the right people, but are you aware of the positions they're supposed to play and the role you play in their life? Because again, if you have a battery in a device or whatever, but you got it in there wrong, it won't work.
Or the battery work, but you got AAA in battery in a thing, and it's supposed to be a AA or one of them little thick little square ones.
So you have the wrong, it's not, but you think it's the actual equipment. You think it's the device. It's not the device. You have the position wrong. So find the place that you're supposed to play in theirs, and vice versa. Because sometimes if you just change that one thing and get that one understanding, it is a beautiful experience. And so that calls that, to do that though, you need to pray about it. You need to trust your instincts, because in herself, we have instincts. You could say you go around somebody and yo, shanana, I say that by the Holy Ghost, be like, something ain't right. Trust that. I wouldn't say cut it off, but I would say pray about it. I'll say fast about it. I would say, God, show me, open my eyes. Why do I feel that way when I go around this person or when I'm around that environment? What's going on that my instincts or the Holy Ghost is telling me something is off.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we are even talking about this now, because as we've pushed out a lot of episodes, I realized that people don't have friends.
Yes.
Or don't even know how to create that community around them. And so they're stiff-armed, and they're like, I'm straight. I don't want to do this. It's cool, but it's okay to have friends. Just like you said, just make sure
it's the right ones.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, it's okay to be by yourself, because sometimes God will separate us and have us in a season of we don't have anybody because you don't know that you need you first. Like, you cannot be anyone or anything to anyone else if you do not truly value you.
Because then other people are not going to value you. And then you wonder why, oh my God, I'm getting walked all over, or I'm people pleasing. That thing, everybody does that, from what I kind of realize. It's like, it's just a thing that people do. But because you don't know yourself, you just do what you think everybody else wants you to do.
Yep. And then you will attract your tribe. You will attract the team that God has meant and destined for you. But if you attract them in the wrong season, you're going to damage them too.
Yep.
And they was meant to support you, meant to be there for you. A lot of people want acceptance. You are accepted, but you don't accept you.
Right.
So get in the mirror and say, what are some things that I like? What are some things I don't like? What I don't like, change. People think it's hard. It's not hard. It's on the heart because you don't want to put in the work. If you don't like your attitude, change it. You don't like how you look, change it.
Yeah.
You don't like your speech and vocabulary because you're speaking death and not life, change it. You sick of religion, have a relationship. It's very simple. It's simple practices that you can do, but be patient with yourself and do it every day. I do that every single day. Sometimes I've called you before. I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a horrible mom, and I did this and this. I'm so hard on myself. And I have to just say, you know what? You did the best you can do. And if it wasn't my best, I go back to the drawing board. I have conversations. I apologize to my kids. I apologize to anybody that I know that my desire is to see them grow and I have failed them. I have conversations with my children every morning. We speak affirmations every morning. I am the head and not the tail. I'm above and not below. I'm the lender, not the borrower. I'm blessed coming in. I'm blessed going out. Eyes have not seen. Every day, I am speaking those things. Lyrics started praying, Lord, thank you for the day. Bless us in a mighty way.
I had a headache yesterday and she put her hands on top of my head. I said, bye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Training them up, because that's what I desire to see them be. Like, with or without me, I want you to be an awesome human who God has made you to be. And so the only way that I can do that is to do the opposite of what we were taught. Do as I say and not as I do. No, do as I do. I want to be that example for you.
Yeah.
I want you to look at my marriage and say, goals. I want you to look at my finances and say, goals.
Yeah.
Look at my life and say, goals.
And understanding that just because we're going into another year does not mean that you don't have to work on the things that you promised yourself in 2023.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us get that misconstrued, like, oh, okay, we're going to a new year. Forget everything that I promised myself in 2023, 2024. I'm going to be a whole new me. If you have not mastered what you're trying to do in 2023, go ahead and just sweep it over to 2024 and keep doing it until you feel like this is a good space that you declare for yourself to be in. Stop making it about everybody else, because everybody else will be there, but nobody gonna be there if you become the most awful version of yourself.
The most powerful thing I've heard, I think it was Sarah Jakes that said this, is do it again. Like, it's power in the again. Because you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from a place of experience. So when I did it in the past, it was my first time, I was a novice.
Right.
But baby, when I stepped this time, now I know what it feels like to do it again. I'm not going to go left, I'm going to go right.
Right.
Because I know when I went left last time, that caused some tribulation. So I'm going to actually pray on it. I'm going to wait. Now I'm going to be more patient. I'm not going to jump at every opportunity because it may not have been the best opportunity for me. So now I'm going to be more patient and say, okay, Lord, if it's for me, it's going to be there. Be more patient.
No
do
matter
it again.
how long it takes.
I started school when I graduated in 2007. Telling my age, don't care. And I've got a birthday coming up. Boop. I started school when I graduated 2007. Here I am, 34. I'll be 35 in January. And I am starting school again. And I'm starting school married, kids, business, and everything else. And guess what I got? Straight A's. Don't play with me.
Right.
Do it again.
You can do it again.
You can do it again.
And again. And again.
As
Until
long
you
as God,
get there.
as long as he keeps giving you breath in your body, as long as he keeps waking you up, you have purpose, you have potential, you have power. So do it again.
Yeah. And know that even working on yourself is a forever thing.
It's forever.
2026, I may be telling a different story.
Yep.
But you evolve every year, every second, every month, every week.
Yeah.
So to say, or I figured it out then is not the truth.
Yeah.
It's not the truth. Because you're not going to be the same person you were 2 months ago than you are now. You may not have the same friend groups. You may not be around the same family members. You may not have the same job.
Yeah.
So the goal is to love yourself and respect yourself through every season, through every cycle.
Yeah. Because why? It's okay.
It's okay.
At the end of the day, it's your story is your story.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a couple years ago, you and I were talking at the townhouse. It feels like deja vu because I remember this specific conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And we were saying how you were asking different moms how their pregnancy was.
Okay.
And how they gave birth. And you were like, it's so crazy how the process of giving birth is the same. You have sex, it's conception,
Mm-hmm.
there's 9 months, you got to go to the doctor, but every delivery is completely different.
Right.
Every pregnancy is completely different,
Mm-hmm.
but the result is the baby.
You get the baby. Still, that's the promise. But the journey of pregnancy is never the same.
And guess what? The baby cute, the baby playful, the baby, it's okay. So embrace your pregnancy. Embrace the purpose that God has given you and ride that thing out. And in pregnancies, because I know this is a woman's podcast, in pregnancy, you go through Braxton Hicks. You feel like you getting ready to give birth early, but that's just growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
That's just your baby growing.
Stay in the not yet.
It's almost time.
Yeah. And when you know when it's time. Like the women that I talked to,
yeah,
that day was the day.
Yeah.
That water broke or them contractions start hitting like no other, or what you were dilated or whatever, but you knew that moment, or I knew I needed to push in that moment.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 minutes ago, I was fine. But right now, y'all better call the doctors.
Yeah.
You better call my husband, where is he? Because I have to push now. And if I hold it back anymore, it's going to cause damage.
And you were prepared.
Mm-hmm.
You had never done it before. I had never given birth before. Makai is 13. I had never given birth, but my body was prepared.
Right.
I was already prepared. Scared and everything else wrapped up into it, but I was already prepared. So in the situations that we're going through, whether it's life, whether it's school, whether it's a new job, whether it's new friends, whether it's being by yourself, you are prepared. Mm-hmm. You are equipped for this. You are made for this. So ride it out, sis.
Ride it out.
Get you your team together. The ones that God sent.
Right. I don't want no friends from the enemy.
Right. Get those, but trust that process. So that's definitely my resolution or my goals going into 2024. Hands down. Just keep evolving, keep growing. This podcast, blessing people's socks off.
Yeah.
Totally merchandise coming. We got guests coming. Yep. I cannot wait for the guests to come.
I'm excited.
Talking about finances and their faith stories, like
what God has done, what He's continuing
and
to do.
will do.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Epic.
2020 impact. That was my word for 2023. It's probably gonna go over into 2024, but yeah, it's impact on every level.
Yeah,
on every level.
Everything you touch.
Yeah,
I'm excited for us.
Me too. So. As always.
Yeah.
In herself, she is loved.
In herself, she is beautiful. In herself, she is strong.
See you in 2024.
See you in 2024.